Hi guys, welcome back to another GTF video. Today we're taking a quick look at the brand new InWin 805 mid-tower case. So last week we did a quick look at the InWin 909 and we were really impressed with the how different the case was and sets it apart, the different cases and the materials used and the quality of the build. Now this is another brand new case from InWin. Now, as you can see, it's already starting to follow those same concepts. We got brushed aluminium on the top. We have this gorgeous front where it's got the same tempered glasses on the sides, and then it's got this kind of honeycomb design on the front, which you can see there, and that looks really nice as well. So some of the standout things for this is it's got this InWin sort of imprint on this side here, and now I've been told that the AU version won't come lit up, but I simply lit this up by just putting an LED strip behind it, so you can do that yourself. And also just bear in mind that I was told that the AU version won't have the USB Type-C connector as well, but the other models will. So that's not too biggie, but I guess if you do want the USB Type-C, you might have to order that somewhere else. All right, so what I might do is I might take this tempered glass off because it's probably just reflecting everything. So that's just done by the 4 simple thumb screws. Now this is slightly thinner tempered glass than on the 909 because that was a much larger case, but it still has that really nice tempered glass effect. Now bear in mind this is just a mid-tower case, so I was actually quite surprised how small this case is. It's not a full size. It won't take EATX, but bear in mind I reckon you could fit an EATX. You've got enough room. It would just sort of overhang, but there's nothing really restricting it. So moving on to some of the other features. All right, so what we have, it says ATX support, micro ATX and mini ITX support. Now the manual does say it has USB 3.1 support, but that's this Type-C. Now I was told earlier that the AU version won't come with that. We got 8 PCIe slots on the rear, so a good amount of slots there. Now the first thing that came to mind was air cooling along the top. Now if you have a look along the top, there is absolutely no fan, no radiator, no nothing along the top. They're just gone with a complete bare brushed aluminium look. Now I think this is really nice, especially in such a nice little system like this, because you mainly have to pay big bucks for nice looking cases with this type of effect. Now I have been told that this should be under the $200 mark, so that should be pretty sweet. And ETA for this is around August. Now, the only issue I see, the slight issue with not having any air coming out the top, is you've only got the one 120mm exhaust fan at the rear. So I guess if you're going to be needing some hardcore cooling for this, if you're going to be having a few video cards doing quite a bit of overclocking, you've got the potential of having 1, 2, 3, 4 fan intakes. You've got 2 at the bottom, 2 at the front, and then you've only got 1 on the rear. So I'm not quite sure how the air pressure is going to work there, but I guess for most people who are just going to use this as like a standard basic gaming machine and things like that, it'll be fine. So moving on to water cooling support, it's pretty basic. You got one 120mm radiator can go on the back, same with the 120mm fan, and on the front you've got an either option of your 240mm radiator or a 280mm radiator. So we will be putting a 240, and it can support all the way up to your 60 millimeters in thickness, just like that. So that's quite large, so that'll be pretty sweet. So I guess if you put a good decent 240mm radiator, you'll be able to cool all your components inside. Now another thing I do like is this bracket is removable, and I do like this. Same with the 909. You just undo these 2 thumb screws, slide it out, and now you can install your radiator, whatnot, and then slide it back on and then put the thumb screws back in. So that's a nice little feature as well. All right, now you're probably wondering about hard drive support. So straight up we've got your 2 3.5-inch slide out, very similar to the 909 sort of caddies. Now these also adopt your SSDs as well. So if you're moving on to SSDs, you've got 2 down here, and for more SSDs you've got 1 little SSD on the tray here. So that's pretty sweet. They've just sort of docked one on there with the standard caddies. These are the caddies they seem to be using for SSDs. And we'll move on to the back in a tick, but the back can take another 3 SSDs, but you can't use them all at once. They're just the bare holes to put these little caddies, so they only provide 2 of these caddies. so you can only utilize 2 out of the 3 spots on the rear. So total SSD support you can use at once is you got your 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's pretty sweet. And then if you want to use these 2 caddies for hard drives, you can fit 2 3.5-inch drives. All right, so what we'll do, we'll move around the back. Just before we do that, the bottom does have a nice mesh filter, so that is magnetic, so that just pops in. That's if you're going to be installing fans in the bottom. Most people don't really use fans, so I don't really use fans on the rear. So what we'll do is we'll cover the front first. Now it's got this really nice little bit of brushed red aluminium. Now I believe this comes in 2 more colors. This is the red. It comes in the yellow goldish, and it comes in a black. So I opted for the red because we're going to be doing a typical ROG theme. I guess I do quite a few ROG themes being sponsored by Asus, but I thought, well, if I'm going to do a ROG theme, I may as well opt for the red one to blend in. And then of course, when you put the strip here, as you can see, it really lights up, and it sort of brings the ROG theme as well. And then you also get this nice lighting effect in the front as well, because this glass does show it off nice. All right, so what we'll do is we'll move it around to the rear. Now I've had a few people ask me, why do they put the tempered glass on the rear as well? Well, I'm a bit 50-50 about it. I do like how the glass follows from the front to the side, and then the other side. I think if they were to make this a solid piece, it just wouldn't look right. But bear in mind, once you do get this glass on and you don't have any LEDs near it, you really can't see inside it. So you're not really going to be too concerned about being able to see your cables, and then I guess it just gives you a bit of a challenge to neaten your cables up a bit if you are going to have this side on show. Right, so moving on to your cables, they're all sleeved bar the black USB 3 internal connector, so that's nice. And now, as you can see, the SSD support up here, you've got one at the top, and then you've got 2 slightly down here behind the motherboard a bit more. So one thing you'll notice is it's a really unconventional case. It's not your standard sort of motherboard tray that has your grommets along the side, grommets along the bottom. You can see this is a much thicker, and I would say this is an aluminium type material. I'd probably say this whole case is aluminium. They've just used a thicker non-brushed for the internals, and they've used a nice brush along the top. I'll just see if we got the weight. No, it looks like they haven't got the weight in here, but I'll probably say that without these off, this is feather light. Like, I could probably pick this up with like just 1 finger, or 2 fingers if I can. So it is a really light case with the side panels off, so they've done a great job there. It doesn't feel all flimsy like it's going to fall apart, because they haven't used your thin 1mm steel. They've used nice aluminium inside. Dimensions, we might just have a look at that. So it's 476mm high, 205mm wide, and the depth from the front to the back is 455mm. So to me, this is a relatively small case. I think taking this to like LAN parties and whatnot should be no issue at all. So that's pretty much it for this quick look. Just to note one more thing, this isn't a review on this case. We're starting to do some of these quick look cases because we do get these pretty much straight off as soon as they're released. So I thought I'll jump out there and try and get them up on YouTube. And once we start sort of getting some gear in this and I start using it more, I'll start doing some more videos on them and sort of some of the findings I do find. Just one more thing, you'll notice they've added this slick little semi-power supply cover. It doesn't really cover the whole power supply. I think they've just added something to continue the front design sort of theme onto the back a bit more, and they've just given you this sort of half triangle cover, which I think is something different. It doesn't have a real purpose of hiding the power supply. It probably adds a bit of structural strength, just sort of stabilizing the middle of the motherboard tray to the back. So that is a pretty nice feature there. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just want to thank Inwin for sending this out, and stay tuned for more videos on this case in the future.